Okay, students, we shall start off with the class, okay? I hope you can see my screen. Hmm. Okay, so previously we discussed what is electronic mail security, right? So electronic mail security, we spoke, that is nothing but email security, right? So we spoke about electronic mail security. Then, so email is nothing but it is the most widely used and regarded network services, right? But we also know that whatever message contents we send it through the or over the internet, it is not secure, right? That is whenever you are transmitting or transferring message from one part to the other, the message when it is going through some medium, it's definitely going through some medium. Main is the internet, but when it is passing over the internet to the, suppose you are the sender and you are sending it to a receiver, but however you send it, you're using the internet, and internet you're using it, but it's not safe, right? So we talk about email and its security services. So also we spoke on security requirements, that is email security requirements. We have four types. One is confidentiality, one is authentication, one is integrity, and one is non-repudiation. These four terms we have already got these, and this is the basic phase of email. That is, suppose you are the sender, receiver is on the other end, and you are sending a message through email, right? That is, you are sending message through mail and you're sending it over the internet. So the receiver on the other hand is receiving it. So this is just the basic phase of email. Then we spoke on different types of security services. That is, first is privacy enhanced mail, that is, or in short you can say PEM, which was adopted by the Internet Architecture Board, that is IAB, to provide secure electronic mail communication over the internet. So we'll come across a lot of one sec, huh? Okay, anyway, so we spoke on PEM, that is, this is privacy enhanced mail. We'll get a lot many secure electronic mail communication, that is, we'll get a lot many security services in this way. So first is PEM, okay, and in PEM we got four types, that is, canonical conversion, digital signature, encryption, and base 64 encoding. So in canonical conversion, what happens is that each email message, that is, PEM transforms each email message into some abstract canonical representation, right? Which means that regardless of the architecture and the operating system of the sending and the receiving computers, the email message always travels in a uniform and independent format. That is, however you send it, whatever operating system you use, whatever architecture you use to send a mail or a message, the mail message, that is, whatever message is traveling from one part to the other, it is always traveling in a uniform and independent format. Then digital signature, you already know. Digital signature, what is digital signature? Why do we use a digital signature? Do you remember? What is the main concept of digital signature? Hmm? To authenticate. Okay. And what all contains in digital signature? Hmm? Digital signature means what? Yes, digital certificate. That is, we talk about some mathematical technique, right? And those mathematical techniques or say equations, those are used to validate the authenticity and integrity of a message. That is, whatever message or whatever software you are using or whatever digital document you want to send it, it is first validated using some mathematical technique, and this is the digital signature, right? So mainly digital signature, it talks about digital certificate. Yes. Then, so what are the steps? What were the steps in digital signature? Do you remember? We spoke about some hash algorithm, hash encoding. Do you remember that? That is, we talk about some message. That is message digest. Remember? That is, we have some message digest which is computed by applying some hash function. Yes. So that message digest is, it is computed by applying it, say by applying some hash function to the message, and then the message digest, it is encrypted using some private key of the sender. Why? To form the digital signature. Yes, that is, when we talk about the digital signature is nothing but it is the encryption. And encryption means we are talking about the private key of the sender and the message digest, that is MD, right? And message digest is nothing but we are using some message digest algorithm where it consists of some hash function. Yes. Then what happens? The digital signature, after the digital signature it is formed, it is transmitted with the message. That is, the digital signature is directly not sent. You are sending it by transmitting along with the message, right? So message and altogether, so the digital signature is transmitted along with a message. And then on the other hand, we have the receiver, right? Suppose you are the sender, you are sending it over the internet, the receiver. So receiver, what happens? The receiver on the other end, he decrypts the digital signature using the public key of the sender. Do you remember this? Do you remember this process? That is, first we have message digest, then we talk about then after the digital signature is formed, the digital signature along with the message, it is transmitted, right? And this is transmitted to the receiver. So message digest, this is done by encrypting using the private key of the sender. Again, on the other hand, the receiver, how he will decrypt the digital signature? By using the public key of the sender, right? Why we are using the public key of the sender? Because it assures authenticity. So the sender has his private key, so the sender can encrypt using his private key, which can be also decrypted by the receiver using the sender's public key. Do you remember these processes? That is, these steps. So what happens after that? So the main motive is the receiver has to receive the digital signature along with the message. Now the receiver has received the digital signature, that is, he decrypts the digital signature using the public key of the sender. And then the receiver, after that, what he has now, he has got the message digest now, which has been sent by the sender. Now the receiver, it can compute the message digest from the message, that is, the actual message which has actually been sent by the sender along with the digital signature. Yes. So the message digest computed by the receiver and the message digest needed to be the same. It needs to be the same for ensuring the integrity. So message digest, we talk about digital signature, and digital signature, that is digital signature, it is sent along with the message which is sent by the sender to the receiver. Okay, so step by step. Okay, so here you can see same thing. Here you can see this is a message digest has been created, then it is sent along, and then here the sender, it is being encrypted using the sender's private key. That is, we get the digital signature. So don't forget these terms, okay? It's very difficult to keep on repeating, okay? So try to grasp these concepts. That is, at least try to do revision with these concepts, okay? So next class, when you get online for the next class, then when I ask questions or when I ask some concept, you can at least remember those, right? Then we talk about encryption. Encryption means plain text to conversion of plain text to ciphertext, simply, right? So here now it's talking about steps of privacy enhanced mail. That is, we have 4 steps. So canonical conversion done, digital signature done, then we go on to encryption. So same thing, we talk about some symmetric and asymmetric key. Okay, what is symmetric key and what is asymmetric key? Remember that? No one? Key difference. Symmetric key. Acha, how many key do we use for symmetric key and how many key do we use for asymmetric key? Okay, public key in symmetric, right? And in decryption, that is in asymmetric. What is asymmetric key? So you know the difference, right? That is, a single key is used for both encryption and decryption, which is the public key. That is the symmetric key, right? So symmetric key or symmetric encryption, you can say, that is, it uses only one key for both encryption and decryption. Yes, but in asymmetric encryption, what happens? It uses a public key for encryption but a private key for decryption. So we have 2 keys in asymmetric encryption, right? So symmetric encryption and asymmetric encryption, you have to remember these 2 encryptions. And now it is talking about the symmetric key. So this is encryption. Then base 64 encoding. Okay, base 64 encoding, this is actually like an algorithm. So I will have to I told I'll explain this again. I'll explain this in the next class, okay? We'll go to this. Okay, these some complicated topics are there, even I have to check. Okay, printable encoding characters and base 64 encoding, I'll do this tomorrow, pakka. So then we spoke on the next topic, that is pretty good privacy, right? So pretty good privacy also, it is a type of authentication service only. So mainly it uses confidentiality and authentication properties, and these are used for electronic mail. That is, this is also used for email and file storage applications. Okay, so there are a number of reasons why we use pretty good privacy. That is, pretty good privacy, this is available freely worldwide. Then it is based on some secure algorithm, which is, we talk about SHA algorithm, SHA. Then it has a wide range of applicability and it is not developed by any governmental organization, so it is available freely worldwide. Okay, then operational description, again same thing, it has 5 services. That is, mainly it talks about it uses authentication, confidentiality, compression, email compatibility, and segmentation. So see, again segmentation and compression also, these topics are from this digital image processing. So same thing, but here we talk about mail. Okay, we are talking about mail services, and so definitions will be a bit different, but the concept is same. That is, suppose if we talk about file compression, so compression takes place in a file. We talk about file segmentation, so it talks about a file, that is segmenting a file. So depends on whatever you are applying to, that is, it may be image, it may be a file. Okay, so here we talk about email, that is email service, and how this is applied we'll see. So actual operation of PGP, that is pretty good privacy, it consists of 5 services: authentication, confidentiality, compression, email compatibility, and segmentation. So I hope you can remember these two, mainly these 2 terms, authentication and confidentiality. We'll keep on using these 2 terms for the other services as well. Okay, so just remember these 2 terms. Okay, So now authentication here. So it is talking, okay, sender creates a message. Suppose in PGP, first step is authentication. So how it is authenticating is, it is first creating a message, the sender is creating a message, then it is making use of some secure algorithm. Here it is using SHA-1160 bit hash of message. Then what it is doing is, it is attaching the RSA signed hash to message. Now we come across this term, that is RSA. So RSA crypto system or RSA algorithm. Now you know what is RSA, right? So I'll come across this again. So then on the other hand, we have the receiver. So sender, he sends the message. Receiver, what he's doing, he's again decrypting and recovering the hash code which has been attached along with the message. So then receiver verifies received message hash. So here authentication is using some hash message, that is using some hash code with the secure algorithm. Okay, so we use two types of algorithm. One is the SHA, that is SHA-1160, and RSA algorithm. And this is the this is for authentication. This is the that is, it is the diagram for the source, that is the sender and the receiver, how the sender is sending and how the receiver is receiving it. Okay, algorithm is again there, but we don't have to go through each and every algorithm, so it becomes very tedious because it's very hard to remember, that too cryptography, so it's very hard to remember. So just you have to remember these steps. No need to remember this diagram as well. This diagram, this is no need to remember. Okay, just remember these steps. Then it talks about confidentiality. So confidentiality, again, what happens, the sender, it forms 128-bit random session key. So it's talking about the session key here. So what is a session key? What is a session key? So when we say session key is actually a one use symmetric key. Okay, it is actually a symmetric key, but session key, it's mainly known as a one, that is single use symmetric key, and this is used for encrypting all the messages in one communication session. Suppose now we are talking about one party, right? That is one sender, one receiver. So the sender is sending this message. It forms 128-bit random session key. So this session key is nothing but, this is a single use symmetric key. Okay, and this session key will be used for the entire communication session which will take place in between the sender and the receiver. So then what happens, the sender encrypts the message with the session key. First it forms a 128-bit random session key, then it encrypts a message using the session key. Now it attaches the session key encrypted, that is whatever message has been encrypted, it attaches the session key with the encrypted message with RSA algorithm. That is RSA algorithm, you know, right, how it is done. So it is attaching the session key which is encrypted with the RSA. Then receiver on the other end, he decrypts and recovers the session key. Okay, and then what it is doing, this is a single use symmetric key, right? So single use symmetric key, that is public key, that is this public key, it is used to decrypt the message as well. Okay, this is for confidentiality service. Then we have confidentiality and authentication together. So what happens, you can use both the services on the same message. That is, what it does is, it creates the signature and it attaches to the message encrypted both message and signature. That is, first it will encrypt it, and then it creates the signature, and then it attaches the digital signature it is talking about. So it is attaching the digital signature to the message, and then it is sending it. So again, the third step is, it attaches RSA. That is, it is making use of RSA algorithm or LGML. Okay, LGML not needed. Just remember RSA encrypted session key. Okay. Then, so this is taking together confidentiality and authentication. Then we have compression. So compression technique, we already know what is compression, how it is used, how many types and all. So here it is talking about PGP compression. So what it is saying that by default PGP compresses the message after signing but before encrypting. So before the message is being encrypted, the PGP, what it does, it compresses the message. First it signs but it doesn't encrypt. So after signing it compresses the message but before encrypting. Then after that it performs encrypting. That is, after it after it signs, then it compresses, and after that it does encrypting. Okay, one sec. Then what happens? So it can store uncompressed message and signature for later verification. That's why it doesn't do encryption. Encryption it is done later on, so that it can store the uncompressed message and signature for later verification. So then, and because compression is non-deterministic, okay, so you can't determine compression just like that. So compression here, it mainly compresses the message but after signing but before encrypting. And the compression algorithm which it uses is zip compress. It uses some zip compression algorithm. This is also not needed. You just have to remember it is a compression algorithm, that is zip. Okay. And finally we have email compatibility. Okay, email, after that we have segmentation again. So one sec. So email compatibility, here it talks about PGP. That is, when using PGP, it will have binary data to send. Definitely, it sends binary data. Okay, so that is the encrypted message. So encrypted message is in the form of binary data. Then, however, email was designed only for text. So now, through email, you can send audio, then video, and so many things, right? But previously, it was designed only for texting, right? But now you can be used for anything. So then, hence PGP must encode raw binary data into printable ASCII characters, because that is how the system understands, right? So it is encoding the raw binary data into some printable ASCII characters. So ASCII code, we have ASCII codes, right? For each, so for each in English alphabets, that is for the 26 alphabets, we have value, that is ASCII value for each alphabet, right? And then it uses some Radix 64 algorithm. So Radix 64 I'll explain. So let it be here now. And PGP also segments messages if too big. That is segmentation process, we know. Segmentation will get it in the last step. That is, in PGP you can also segment the message if it is too big. That is, you can divide the message and then you can send it only if the message is bigger. And then finally we have, okay, so segmentation, I think they are not explaining. Okay, they haven't explained. So segmentation is nothing but, okay, they have explained it in this single step, because segmentation is what? Segmentation, we are talking about file segmentation here. So file segmentation is nothing but segmenting the file if it is too big, or say here it is talking about a message, so they are segmenting the message into parts and then sending it only if the message is bigger enough. Okay, then this is the operation of PGP, that is, this is the summary. Again, this is an algorithm. No need to go through these algorithm as well, because if in online exam, if question comes, then how will you write this algorithm, right? So you just have to know the root. That is how it is done, why it is done, where and when it is done. So you just remember pretty good previously. It mainly uses confidentiality and authentication service. This is mainly used for email purpose. Also you can use it for file storage applications, but mainly it consists of 5 services. There's authentication, confidentiality, compression, email compatibility, and segmentation. And then you have to remember these steps. Okay, don't go through the diagram, just remember these steps. From these steps only you will get the questions. Okay, so accordingly I'm explaining. So this is, so PGP operation. So PGP, this is using all these 5 techniques. That is, it is using the techniques of authentication, confidentiality, compression, email compatibility, and segmentation. So using these 5 services, they are showing the summary. Okay, still I'll explain, because I haven't explained Radix 64, so without explaining this you won't be able to understand. Okay, so then Okay, so session keys. Okay, I'll explain this again. So one topic only, it has so many, it has been divided into so many, and this is S-MIME is this is the next topic. This I'll take up the next session. This tomorrow. But before going on to PGP and so deeply, do you remember what is RSA? Do you remember how we solved this? How we solved this sum? Do you remember? So if you can remember this, how to solve this sum, yes, okay, fine. So take down two questions. Okay, I'll give you simple questions. Okay, one sec, guys. Okay, guys. So I hope you remember what is RSA algorithm. Okay, so taking this algorithm into account, just solve two questions. Okay, that is here in the previous class we solved this example taking two prime numbers, right? So prime numbers P and Q we considered, and I considered the two prime numbers 7 and 17 for P and Q respectively. So for today, just do one thing. Take the first question. Okay, take the first question with P as 13 and Q, keep Q 17 only. Okay, so change P to 13. So P will be 13 and Q will be 17. This is the first question. Okay, the second question is take P equals to 3. Okay, take P equals to 3 and Q equals to 11. Okay, so first question is take P equals to 13 and Q equals to 17, and in the second question take P equals to 3 and Q equals to 11. Okay, that is so first question is take P equals to 13 and Q equals to 17. Second question, you take P equals to 3 and Q equals to 11. Okay, so these are the two questions. Kindly try to solve it. Okay, take these two questions and these two questions. Okay, so you have taken down the questions, right? So kindly solve these. I'm giving you the example also. I'm showing you the example also. Just how much will be left? Okay, take the 10 minutes. You can just take 10 minutes and just solve it. Okay. Okay, so could you people solve? Just take it as your homework, okay? Just reply me in the group if you could solve it or not. I'll check it there, okay? Okay. Okay, class will end for today. Just solve these two problems and I'll check it in the group, okay? Just tell me how much you have got it and if you've got it or not, okay? Okay, you can leave the class, okay? I'll end it here for today. Thank you.